Hi everybody, I am Panu Rastogi. Today I am going to tell you about CCNP Tshoot. As you know, Tshoot was introduced in February 2010 and available from July 2010. Before July 2010, 4 exams was there. But after July 2010, we have 3 exams, that is CCNP Route, CCNP Tshoot and CCNP Switch. You should know why they change the syllabus. So because they want why they change the syllabus, because they want to be a more focus on CCNP live scenarios like routing and switching. So you can say the person who did CCNP before 2010, he was not perfect for directly moving into the IT companies. So means he was not able to troubleshoot the direct live scenarios. So that's why the Cisco changed their CCNP curriculum for and made like extremely real world. Actually, from troubleshoot, your goal is how to manage the network and work on implemented routing switching scenarios. So you can say if we have a good network maintenance strategies, then you can typically have a good troubleshooting. Means Cisco didn't just create about troubleshooting, they said this is the best way that you should manage your life in the Cisco world. So now as we see, we have a slide over here. Following could lead to the troubleshooting, like whenever you are installing a new devices, upgrading iOS versions, monitoring performance, security audits, implement user requested upgrades, documentation. So as we know that documentation is the most important part of the CCNP troubleshoot. For example, if you have a scenario, you should have a documentation, proper documentation. So that's why whenever any problem comes in the troubleshoot scenario or in the live scenario, you should have a proper documentation. So all of them are under in the maintenance. As we see, there is a slide. There are so many keys is there for a successful network maintenance. That first of all, you should have a plan. That is the most important part of the CCNP. You should have a plan. Like first plan is your FCAPs, fault management, configuration management, accounting management, performance and security management. Next thing you have ITIL, that infrastructure library, information technology infrastructure library, and the most important that Cisco PPDIO, that is Cisco proprietary. So they are giving Cisco PPDIO. PPDIO means like prepare, plan, design, implement, operate and optimize. So these are the life cycles of Cisco for managing Cisco world. So it's not like you can create your own plan also. Next thing we have schedule the task within your plan, meaning you have to schedule your maintenance window. Like for example, here we have moves, adds and changes. So whatever the products or whatever the router you are moving from one network to another network, or you are adding something, you are changing something from the scenarios, so those things will be there. Next is replacing failed device. So that is also, remember, like whatever the iOS version is there and whatever the series of the router you are changing, you should remember those things. Next thing, software upgrades. So obviously continuously the Cisco is giving the new iOS version, you should upgrade your iOS on the devices. And the last thing, not the least, but that is upgrading your documentation. So whenever you are moving and adding anything, you should update your documentation also. Third is your create assigned maintenance window. So that is also most important part. So you should create a window, you should tell to your company like this is the time that we will change our scenario, or we will do some R&Ds on that. So the person who is moving into companies as a normal employee, he will not feel like whenever he is coming in the morning, he is trying to access the internet and it's not working. So you should tell this is the day and this is the time, so that you can you can troubleshoot or you can do R&Ds on that network. Establishing network maintenance procedures. So that is also most important. First is we have change control. So obviously it's like balancing people's need versus stability of your network. Next thing we have documentation, equipment list, WAN connections, whatever the free resources you have, all those things you should note down in your documentation. Next we have communication. So communication, it's not like whatever we have normal communication. The thing is what you are doing and the finding out what the other peoples are doing, meaning needs to establish our communication standards, that should be there. Second last thing we have consistency. Consistency meaning you should have standards, defining standards, how your devices are set up, or how you are going to use timestamps. That should be same on all the routers, because you should use for that NTP servers and all. So access list and all should be consistent on all the routers. So it's not like that one router you are using another access list and another router you are using different access list. Access list for the same scenario should be same. Second thing is, next thing is cyclic equipment. That is, cyclic equipment is the most important part, that is MTBF, that is called mean time between failure. So you don't have to wait for the device should be die. So always you have to say, okay, by default Cisco is giving 10 years at saying like device can work up to 10 years, but you should not wait for that. You should recycle the devices after every 3 years. So last thing is, we have schedules maintenance window that I already talked about. Assembling your core maintenance tools. What is that? Creating a list of things that every network should be using for maintenance. First is, you know, that telnet, SSH consoles, NTP server, that's recently I told you, syslog, HTTP, HTTPS servers, GUI, SDM, TFTP server, EEM. So these all are the tools that you can download, and you have to be in your pen drive, and so that anytime you need these tools you should have immediately. You should not have to wait for the downloading and doing the things. So you should have in your pen drive. Next thing we have iOS maintenance configuration. So I will tell you, like, by default Cisco will provide you so many tools from their iOS only. So that is like whenever you want to take a backup of the configuration, that you can take through the TFTP, FTP or HTTP. So you should use the most usable thing, like called we have HTTP or the FTP, because both are TCP, not the UDP, because in this case TFTP is UDP. So for that we have the so many servers, like core FTP server is there, so you can use it free where it is. Next thing is archiving configuration. So your iOS tool is providing archiving configuration by default. Configuration, rollback, NTP logging, Cisco website tools. So on the Cisco website you have some tools that you can use for troubleshooting. So these were the basic steps for troubleshooting. So here I'm going to show you the logical topology for troubleshoot that we are going to be used for entire CCNP Tshoot program. As you see, this topology contains near around 13 devices over here, and which is the small to medium size network. So this will help you to directly go into the company and to troubleshoot the small to medium size network. This topology is totally according to the Cisco CCNP troubleshoot curriculum. So, and one more thing I want to tell you, like same topology you will face in exams. As you can see, there you have the IRO1, IRO2, and these are your core routers over here, and you can see this ISP service provider cloud is there, and down to that you have some core switches and access layer switches. So in this case, this is your headquarters, and in the right hand side you have your branch office. Those are having BRO1 and BRO2, those are the devices, and in between you have totally redundancy called through the frame relay and the point to point link. So you should go through the branch office to headquarters, and you have to troubleshoot all the things. And then you have the CRO1, CRO2, that is connecting from core to branch office over here. And then at the end I want to show you the real rack of that we will be using for Tshoot curriculum. So we have the rack over here. This rack is having all the devices that I talked about in the lab topology. Like you can see BRO1, BRO2, CRO1, CRO2, ISP, ISP1, ISP2 is there. So all devices you can use up to 3600, 2600, and we have the switches like 3560, 3550. So those devices you need for the troubleshoot topology. That will give you the live scenario of according to the real world. So you can easily get a hands-on that, so that directly you can move into the company and you can troubleshoot. So that's it for the day, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for the watching.